All right. Hello. This is the Postromo Pictures movie commentary of uh, Texas Chainsaw 4, The Next Generation, which is something that neither me and Michael have ever watched before, but we're both big fans
Yeah,
of
we're hoping to
the.
be pleasantly surprised. I like
Yep,
the first two movies.
exactly. I'm a big fan of the Toby Hooper. And just so you know, we sync this up so that the commentary starts right as the first studio logo comes up, and this is the theatrical cut of Texas Chainsaw 4, The Next Generation. Um, so here we are with this.
I think it was a mistake for us to open this series with a movie neither of us had seen because we have absolutely nothing to contribute
Yeah, we have no idea what's going on
from
here.
the outside. Actually, what I really love about this is I don't. I think you told me you haven't seen the second one of these
I
movies.
haven't, no.
Okay, so me and Cullen to prepare for this, he watched the first movie, which I probably should have done, but instead I watched the second movie, which is basically like what Evil Dead 2 is to Evil Dead 1, where it's just a heightened, zanier version of the original,
Mm-hmm.
and including an opening title crawl that, unlike the first one, where it's all very stark and you don't really hear anything.
Yeah.
Is there narration at the beginning of the first one?
Nope.
Okay,
No.
so in the second one, there's this very like unsolved mysteries kind of opening as he
Right.
goes through
Yeah.
the crimes, and it's already setting sort of a camp tone.
Yeah.
So
William Riker comes out and sits down in a chair in his cool little like leg over the chair thing and explains to you that this is a mystery night.
it's actually not William Riker; it's Leatherface wearing William Riker's face.
Oh yeah, nice. I you know what? There's another Star Trek reference right there because this is called The Next Generation. So we're already on Star Trek references. Joe Stevens, Tony Parensky. Um, I'm excited for this though because apparently there's a lot of like callbacks to the first movie that are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, what I've heard about this movie that really intrigued me is kind of what intrigued me about the second one, where it just takes these things that were sort of alluded to but never really expanded upon in the original one and then just literalizes it.
Yeah.
So in the first movie, a lot of critics kind of hung their hat on like what most critics hang their hat on when it comes to analyzing horror. They go, the weapon is a phallus. The chainsaw is his penis, basically.
Yeah.
And then the second movie just literalizes that, where there's a scene where the protagonist, Stretch, gets out of being axed by Leatherface by seducing him.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just going, wow, your chainsaw is so big. And then, like, the chainsaw sputters and, like, prematurely, like, goes... It's
God.
crazy.
That's awesome.
So, in this movie, what I heard is they kind of expand upon the feminization of Leatherface the character and how he's sort of functionally like the mother of this screwed up nuclear family dynamic. And
Can I
by
say
in this
quickly
movie
too,
having them
most
present literally
90s
as
prom
female.
couple ever. There, that couple
Oh,
is
yeah,
that's
sorry.
the most 90s prom couple. But yes, that's actually interesting how they literally sexualize it in the second movie, like with the. I need to put you on the top tier.
Actually, what I love is that both the second movie and the fourth movie, sorry, I keep going back to the second one, they always begin with the least alpha jocks I've ever seen, where they're like, all right, fellas, we're going to...
Well, I mean, the first one too. If you think about it, like the first one, the guy driving the car, whose name I forget, is just like the most horror movie victim in the world. Like he's got like the bell bottom jeans. He walks in, he's like, I gotta get some barbecue.
Actually, they do feel like more real life would be alpha guys.
Yes.
The,
Oh,
the
that's-
kind of guys
yeah,
that
good
read Neil
point.
Strauss, because they're
Yeah.
not like Biff Tannen. They're more like, I don't know, they wear like crew necks.
Yeah, yeah. There's Biff Tannen behind them right there.
Yeah, we've seen Biff Tannen 4 times in this opening so far.
I'm already noticing that. Like I feel like this movie would have been just made as more of an amalgamation of horror, in that it's like, oh, he's got the earring too, awesome. But like you're kind of not necessarily that every prom movie is Carrie, but just that classic horror trope of like prom night and
Yeah.
things like that. Where so already we're differentiating from just typical hillbilly slasher fiction.
Yeah, for some reason, I was led to believe that this movie was set in Los Angeles. I don't know why, because it's also set in Texas, as are the other ones. As you.
The name would suggest so.
Yeah, you'd think so. It's not called.
Well,
the,
it says
it's not called
Rodeo
the
Drive
Burbank
back there.
Chainsaw Massacre.
It does say Rodeo Drive in the background. So.
Yeah, there you go.
You'd think that if you were going to make out with someone else on your prom night, that you'd at least find a better hiding place.
Yeah, like there was already one other guy just looking at them.
It's interesting because I'm assuming, and I might look this up, that this is shot on 35. I might look that up though, because I also wouldn't be surprised if they stuck with the kind of tradition of this series of doing 16.
Sure, yeah, actually,
so
if you
I'm
don't mind
gonna take
looking
I'm
it
gonna
up.
take a look.
Actually,
Yeah.
look up the budget while you're at it, because none of the movies, I don't know what they would be nowadays, but the first movie was something like, I think it was $340,000 they made it for, and the second one was, I think, a little over $800,000. So
Yeah.
none of these
are high budget
exactly because
thrillers by any means. They're not the Friday the 13th or the Nightmare on
I
Elm
think
Street.
even Halloween had more money thrown at it.
Yeah.
With the later entries.
So it's got a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, and everyone knows that Rotten Tomatoes is the be-all, end-all to film criticism. So.
Yeah, because Metacritic is the obviously right one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually my favorite thing. People that go, Rotten Tomatoes is for chumps. Metacritic.
Oh, no. I like how this is just dazed and confused so far. or even more so.
Oh, yeah,
Texas.
Leatherface just uses a paddle in this one.
Yeah, it's even more than dazed and confused. It's what the fuck? I can't believe I'm blanking on the name of the McLovin movie.
Because super bad.
Super bad. Yes, it's a hard name to remember. Okay, it's very long. It's very drawn out. Super bad, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love.
Well, Chop Top is just proto McLovin.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah.
Leatherface's older brother. Here's the thing: I actually kind of forget, because when I was watching the second movie, the guy that I thought was the father kept referring to them as brothers, and I didn't know if he was doing like solidarity or if it is just a weird incest.
Well,
thing
that's what when I was
know.
watching it the other day, I was saying with the friend of mine that I was watching it with that like we were kind of, because they never really specify whether or not they have a grandpa, but
who we can tell is old because he's a corpse, basically.
Yeah, but the guy that you would assume is the father who owns the restaurant and gas station. Also is like he refers to him as grandpa, and he says brother a lot. Again, it seems like maybe he's either the older brother. He's clearly the patriarchal figure of this little gang of misfits. But
by the second movie, they are kind of zany, so it's like they are a bit little rascalsy.
So let's see full technical specs of this. What was it shot on? Yep, 35 millimeter. Okay, that's what I thought, because I was going to say, my point was going to be, I just didn't want to make the point without knowing that the first movie looks way better already.
And the first movie was made for peanuts.
The first movie, yeah.
Actually, one thing that always bugged me about a lot of people that even like the first Texas Chainsaw, they always say it has this kind of verite snuff film quality. And I said, no, I think that's more a byproduct of just, the tech they had to work with. I think that Tobe Hooper is actually incredibly gifted when it comes to blocking and staging his action.
Yeah.
And even then, I mean, like, I don't know how you could get snuff from a film that uses these very oversaturated, like, kind of lighting styles. Like, when they first open the house.
It's almost Argento, like that red room at the back.
Scout Tafoya, the guy... I think the top reviewer at RogerEbert.com called, this is a pretty bold statement, he called Tobe Hooper the American Michael Powell, which I don't think is totally unfounded, just based on these very sort of fairy tale-like compositions, like intense uses of, say, like weird kind of dissolve effects. Like when he made Eaten Alive, which is my favorite Tobe Hooper movie, he said that he wanted to shoot the entire thing on sound stages to create that sort of uncanny, artificial Twilight world, as he called it.
Right. Yeah. So the budget for this movie too was $600,000, and it made $185,000. By the way.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I think it made the least amount of. This franchise really is kind of diminishing returns, because what people kind of can't wrap their heads around is that a movie made for as cheaply as Texas Chainsaw Massacre was like what was it, like 37, like. 37 million or something, but back in the 70s,
yeah,
it was like it was
huge
a hit.
Success.
Yeah, resounding success. And then the second movie basically barely made back its budget, and then from there it was just diminishing returns.
Which again, I think the funny part of people kind of crediting Jason Blum for this whole like low budget to like high return horror kind of studio system is that like that's pretty much what most horror movies have ever been.
Yeah.
Like that most of the big horror movies, with the exception of something like The Exorcist or Alien, but like these like really kind of grimy grindhouse kind of horror movies.
You think of the Hicksploitation movies like
Night of the Living
Hills Have
Dead.
Eyes.
Yeah, exactly. You get, it's always been like that. You've always had these really low budget movies that have just gone well, which is, I mean, another big reason why a lot of directors get their start in horror, because it's the easiest genre um, to kind of do on a budget, because it's such a visceral genre. You don't really need to have a lot of subtext in it. It's really simple to just, it's not hard to scare people.
Mm. I just realized we've talked more about the first
Yeah.
2 Texas Chainsaw movies.
I love that. Do you have a flashlight? This high key lighting isn't bright enough for me. So I'm already noticing if this is supposed to be, if this is supposed to be, did they move or something? Because this is not what the location of the first movie looks like at all.
No, here's the thing. Actually, after the first movie, the implication is that they relocated somewhere else upstate in the second movie, and then they became like the town's local like chili competition winners, where they just...
Not surprising. I mean, you see Leatherface. He got a big gullet.
Actually, here's the funny thing about each of the movies is they're usually like the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
The family in Texas Chainsaw Massacre has usually been a stand-in for whatever the filmmakers are angry at that particular point in time.
Yeah.
So in the first movie, there's a lot of these sort of Manson-like illusions, except even granted they're not like portrayed as hippies. They're just kind of portrayed as sort of this like other sort of like backwoods outsiders that people were like, oh, that's off-putting. But in the second but they were clearly trying to evoke that feeling of just random chaos that people were feeling after the Sharon Tate murders and were very upset by.
Yeah.
But the second movie, they are revealed to have come from a background of wealthy industrialists. And the grandfather was like a shareholder and proprietor of like a slaughterhouse, like a company or something like that.
Right. Well, I mean,
Like
they
a
kind of
meatpacking
they almost allude to that in the first movie, but
Yeah.
not necessarily the wealth part, but more that like there's clearly the slaughter idea.
Oh
where
yeah,
it's like,
totally. And I mean, that's why they have so many tools that coincide with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So the first movie also, so it was made on a budget of $300,000 and it made 30 million worldwide.
That's crazy.
Which is, yeah, and especially for 1974. Yeah, 1974. That's a lot of money.
Sorry, where are we now? I've kind of lost track of the plot.
I actually have no idea. Like they just dropped. I think it was supposed to be a fake out jump scare, where somebody came up, like this lady came up behind them and was like,
Yeah, the social worker and her portable apparated from nothing. I feel bad now because
she's harkening back to the days of like the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, where you'd go around in a caravan and kind of like park outside of a town and be like, I'm the wizard and come see my show at the circus. She's just a social worker that does the same thing. She parks outside of town in her caravan and just finds people wandering through the woods at night. I can't believe I just related this movie to Wizard of Oz.
I don't think we can blame any of this movie's faults on itself because we've barely been paying attention. Like Cullen's been looking at his phone for the past 5 minutes.
I've been looking up trivia on the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, it's a really interesting movie. Like there's a lot of
but no, again, I think it's funny how like the first movie, and it goes to show that resolution literally does not matter. The first movie shot on 16 millimeter and looks 10 times better than this movie, which is shot on 35 millimeter. And even this movie, I mean, this movie looks fine because it's still film, but just like the lighting of the first movie and the way the first movie shot, this movie has a very, just off the get go, very kind of TV vibe to it.
Oh yeah, totally.
I like this. She's used to it. Some farmer's wife.
Oh God, I really hope.
Okay, so we got the first boobs. They almost look prosthetic. That's strange.
So what does she do for a living again? I felt bad.
Look,
I
she's
talked
in
over
like
it.
like it looks like a construction contractor like cabin thing that you would see outside of a construction place, but oh no, is this?
Oh, is that? All right.
Oh, it is. Okay, yeah.
You can tell.
I genuinely hadn't even seen the guy whose car they hit on his face yet. I thought that was Matthew McConaughey.
Mm.
He's got a bionic leg. That's awesome. Well, I didn't think to check his heartbeat. Hell yeah, Matthew McConaughey. Watch me kiss him now. I don't have that Lincoln money for nothing, boy. These ain't. Oh my. What the hell? Oh, he's bad. I guess I should. I saw Matthew McConaughey and immediately thought he was the good guy, but then I also just realized that he drove up in this busted old truck.
That's why he's such an effective villain.
Yeah.
You see him and you go, yeah, dazed and confused guy.
Yeah.
Who is also a
You mean?
despicable villain.
Sorry, Interstellar guy at this point.
Oh, yes.
He was hot off the presses for Interstellar in this movie.
Actually, here's what's kind of funny. I feel like
Hang on, wait. Okay, sorry. I thought he was just gonna drive off. like that's his thing. He just comes, breaks this guy who's passed out unconscious in his neck, and then just drives away.
you know what? I feel like he might actually be the same character from Dazed and Confused. Like,
Oh
this
yeah,
is
this
just kind of like
well,
the
I
dark
mean,
side.
They're both
like,
Texas.
Yeah. They both hang out around high schools. They're
Yeah.
both.
But don't fall asleep near him. He has an affinity for snapping necks. Yeah, see ya. Hey, wanna lift your shirt again?
I guess not.
This is the most low energy chase. Like, he's just jogging. Keep running. I just saw him in Texas when I was there.
Oh, I was gonna ask you. Yeah,
Yeah.
he has a school in Austin, right? Like
Well,
a
it's
film
not his school. It's he just teaches at University of Texas.
What does he?
He teaches a script to screen course.
Oh,
So it's like just I guess I don't know if it's screenwriting, but yeah, I saw him. I was at the football game and he was there. So, looks exactly like this. He pulled up in this little tow truck and
with his mechanized
leg. Yeah.
Here's the reason. I actually, for a second, thought that he was the guy they recast the older brother as because, spoiler alert for the second movie, the older brother that gets his head caved in by a truck in the first movie survived. And it's one of those great old movie things where he just has like a metal plate where he got hit.
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah.
oh yeah, he totally
Yeah,
lived.
no, in the first movie, he literally gets turned into like spaghetti. Like
raw meat.
You see that shot and he is crushed. There's like it looks like a watermelon when a watermelon gets run over by a car, and it's just like
Yeah, and then
it's
they
not
put a Hello
watermelon
Kitty
anymore.
Band-Aid over it, and
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, he's back for the second one.
Yeah,
So I was hoping Matthew McConaughey was that guy,
like
but
just a
after
recasting.
after he got stabbed in the stomach with a chainsaw and fell off like an amusement park ride.
Yeah,
He's just like, he just has like a leg brace. It's like Batman. It's like The Dark Knight Rises.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he needs Alfred to just go. It's very experimental technology, Mr. Wayne. You don't want to put it on your leg, and then he just goes. Tza.
I actually, after he said that line, I was hoping his leg would just like go, like in a perfect
yeah. And then it
90
goes,
degree
and it goes, and it just starts going back and
Turn
forth.
it up! And he's like the guy with bonitis from Future.
And it's and he's just Alfred's there just pulling the switches like, oh Jesus, oh Christ. I ain't stopping for you, hillbillies. Why do all the cars in this movie drive so slowly? Like they're keeping up with it.
Well, 'cause
at
it's
like
the
a
back
brisk,
roads,
a
so-
brisk jog.
Even if you're like a murderous hillbilly, I mean, it's still back roads.
That's
dude.
true. Yeah, they've got to be careful.
That kid might roll his ankle.
That AAA doesn't pay for everything. Which way did they go? She just watched them drive off, and now she looks like she's lost. Ugh.
Oh, you can still see it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for like E.T. and Elliot to walk by in the background carrying their little fake contraption of like their made up thing.
I think someone should make a YouTube channel of like, you know, the scene where E.T. controls Elliot and then he's all like suave and he like dances through his classroom.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you should take that scene with E.T. just walking around the house doing mundane stuff, but he's just controlling like, I don't know, Leatherface.
Yeah.
Just something really dark.
It's just that they accidentally have a psychological bond.
Yeah, exactly. And he thinks
Why are you running?
E.T. thinks he's like opening the fridge, but he's actually like flaying a dude.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some movie must have done that.
Oh, yeah.
E.T. The Next Generation.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite. Well, you know what the sequel to E.T., the proposed sequel,
Yes,
right?
I did.
Yeah. Where it's like Elliot's too cool for E.T.
That's so awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's hilarious.
I think that the second movie should just be about all those like not sort of like, you know, there was like 80s kids that grew up along E.T. and they found him very endearing, but then the 90s kids are like, man, E.T. scared me.
Oh, yeah.
Like they make it a decade later and it's all
I
about
know many
how,
people
like,
who are scared of E.T.
Yeah, and it's about E.T. having to prove to them that he's not like a...
Yeah, that he's not like a terrifying golem creature.
Exactly.
Yeah, good thing that garbage bag just came out of nowhere. Somebody read the script.
That's pretty awesome.
I like that. My granddaddy designed each and every one of these places.
See, a lot of people kind of like self-aware horror movies, but I always found them kind of boring when they lampshade their tropes.
Yeah, yeah, like
When they're all like...
Cabin in the Woods.
Exactly,
I
that kind of...
I basically went through high school hearing about how great Cabin in the Woods was, and then I finally watched it, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Like,
cool. That is the most him movie that he would ever make, though.
Oh,
I mean, like
definitely,
not Drew
absolutely.
Goddard, who's done like a myriad of stuff. I mean, like Joss Whedon.
No, yeah, totally, yeah. It's very, very Joss
Very
Whedon movie. Yeah,
congratulatory.
it's a movie that kind of, it's the movie that if you have a complaint about it or like a criticism of it, that people's always response is always like, yeah, but it's intentional. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't make it any less bad.
Yeah, I called the Deadpool defense.
Yeah. Hell yeah, everyone thinks she's such a wuss.
I kind of love this guy.
Yeah, I like him.
He's very laissez-faire.
Yeah, it's blasé, like.
Sorry. I think that this movie should be called Degrassi: The Next Generation. Cause,
Oh, literally, I knew a lot of
it's
people who were actors on The Grass Next Generation.
Oh, that's amazing.
I should remake this movie with them.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't have to. You just have to cut out like all 14 minutes of Leatherface, and then you'd have
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
an episode about like I don't know, like walking in the
holy
woods
shit.
at night safety.
That's crazy. That was a Lincoln they were driving. Matthew McConaughey. I find when I drive Lincolns late at night and take down teenagers, that's what relaxes me. All right.
So Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger made it from this.
Wait.
Oh,
That's not okay. That's weird. That's like the mirror image of the first house.
yeah.
Because the first house, the big kind of outcropping part is on the left side, and the swing is back where that blue truck would be.
Yeah.
Like it's that, but the opposite.
Yeah, no, that's actually really cool.
I'm wondering, is that
Intentional.
or did they just try to make a house that sort of looked like the
I
first
think
movie's
a lot
house?
of houses in the 20th century just looked horrifying.
Maybe, yeah.
They just all had the same kind of. I mean, our friend Blair. He was I don't know. I said our friend Blair.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Good guy, but he was up in like upstate New York, and he was saying that he didn't really dig Stephen King, but after hanging out in like just that area, that neck of the woods, he went. No, I believe that some of these places have like Lovecraftian hell beasts in their cellars.
What I think is so interesting about just that, even our area, like, is that you can drive outside of Toronto and find a lot of like small towns like that, especially.
Southern Ontario and upstate New York are very uniform.
Yeah,
That's,
very similar in terms of just the when I was driving down to New Jersey in September, um, half the cars on the road in upstate New York are from Ontario, and B, it's very similar landscapes, incredibly similar like town styles of just like kind of long stretches of highway. Mostly because it's most things in upstate New York and southern Ontario are basically just connectors of cities, as most places are, but a very specific style of just like a highway that runs from say Ottawa to Toronto or from Toronto to New York, and just you just have croppings of towns, and they're often not very large highways, nothing more than like a 2-lane. So very these kind of personal, exactly Lovecraftian.
We're talking about roads now, folks.
They've got a swing again. Yeah, we're talking about roads.
It's just
the swing
we're
is back.
26 minutes into the movie and we're talking about roads.
I'm gonna look up.
Please. Yeah, just locations.
No, the cinematographer. I always think it'd be so great if he because I love combining horror and comedy even in straight up horror movies. If he just like came out and looked at her for a minute and then just went away and just walked back in the house and just left her.
Actually, on the topic of horror comedy, the first movie, you were talking about how you love Leatherface's clumsiness.
Oh yeah, no, it's not even necessarily his clumsiness. It's more just that like the second person he kills is the girlfriend that goes in after her boyfriend who's just been murdered, and he sticks her in a fridge, and then she almost gets out of the fridge, and he like clamps the fridge down on her and hangs the lady up on the meat hook. But he just clearly goes to the living room afterwards and like sits down and is like rubbing his face because he's so stressed. And he's like, "Oh God, these people my meat keep trying to escape."
Well, because he's at the bottom of like the
food chain
chain in his family, even though he's the one that they're entirely codependent to.
Yes. So Daniel Pearl. Okay,
sure.
So Daniel Pearl is the cinematographer for the first Texas Chainsaw, and he also did the remake, the 2003 remake.
Yeah. The Michael Bay produced one.
Yeah. When Michael Bay actually had that interesting kind of point in his career when he was doing a bunch of horror remakes.
Oh yeah, totally. That was what was his label called again?
Didn't he have like a label? It was there was some sort of like label that he was using. But interesting. Okay.
You know what movie's really fun? Friday the 13th Part 5. Like there's like this there's these great side characters that are totally superfluous. They're just like these redneck neighbors. It's like just some like 30-year-old man and his mom, and she's always making soup and he's always doing donuts on his BMX in the front yard.
Yeah.
Not BMX, on his like little Spider-Man 2 kind of like
moped thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great movie.
Well, actually, he's got better teeth than the original.
Yeah, the thing that kind of puts me off about Leatherface in the sequels, I haven't seen the third one, but in the second and fourth one, is they make his features underneath the mask too easy to distinguish, which I think in the second one is important because they're trying to humanize him to create this uncertainty principle when, Stretch the DJ
yes.
Tries to seduce him. It's kind of like, oh, will he be goaded into this, because there's sort of like this naive quality to him. Mm-hmm. But I mean, in the first one, it's very it's actually very scary. Like the hair doesn't look quite so
and he's just got
silly,
like
Three
one
Stooges
tooth kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. No. And what's great is actually his eyes are kind of like the shark from Jaws, where I don't know how. I think it's because I think it was just a matter of practical lighting. But the way that it turned out was that the mask hangs over his eyes just enough so it creates these two black pools.
I was gonna say it almost looks like he's got like his saggy eyelids.
Exactly. It's great.
A non. So he's still sort of manic.
He's always been manic.
But I mean, it's just more in the way that again, like he got a dental job clearly.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Good for him.
Yeah. He got the returns and the royalties from the first three.
Yeah. Did they shoot this in California? Am I going insane? I don't think they did.
I can check it out.
Yeah, please.
I doubt it because it seems like a pretty local Texas.
No, exactly.
Just because Matthew McConaughey is in it and stuff like that, and I feel like at this point he still would have been just kind of doing, for the most part, doing Texas.
I don't know if you caught that right there. That was pretty sweet.
What happened?
I didn't exactly hear the quote, but he was just like, "That was Niccolo Machiavelli." I got it on the coffee table there. Well, I believe that the family are libertarians. Like, that would actually be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, their whole motivation in the second movie was, and this doesn't specifically have anything to do with libertarianism, but more just the idea of, like, trampling on our freedoms.
Yes.
Where they start talking about why they got out of the meatpacking industry. And it wasn't because they were fired or anything. It was just because, like, the grandpa didn't like this new change in standards and practices.
Right, yeah, them regulations.
Exactly. They were like, oh, the cattle ranchers instantly kill their victims. What's happening here? It's great. They're great characters.
This guy's the best. He goes in this house and he's just looking for the bathroom.
Actually, if you wanted a good moment of comedy, he would open the door here, and like the older brother would be like, 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Just holding a scalp.
Be out in a minute.
It's kind of interesting seeing where they go in the sequels, because even though I said, I haven't seen anything that was demonstrative of this idea of literalizing things or taking it even further, but on that topic of literalization, people have said that just like Texas Chainsaw sort of popularized this notion of like, I mean, there's always been haunted houses in horror movies, but this is very much sort of the feeling of everything outside the world is like very stark, very as close to what people might have been calling a documentary about that film. But then the second you enter the house, there is that fantastic sort of haunted house quality.
Yeah.
So the second movie, the entire back half of the film is set at an amusement park that's been made up to look like this kind of gothic slaughterhouse setting.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's kind of interesting to see them kind of do a step backwards to just a house. Like, I thought they almost from that point onward, you'd get more ambitious with your settings.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, they couldn't.
Well, I think again, it's that thing where I don't think the second movie did very well, and so they're probably it's the
I like that he's wearing
return
jeggings.
to form kind of thing. Yeah. It's that return to form though, right?
Yeah.
Where you kind of. Is just gonna stick them both in? Oh no, he's doing some reorganization. Okay. But see what I mean now? It's that like
we're just
well,
doing the first movie.
we did something else, and now like even just with the
no, it's
meet him
different.
again.
They're closer to the house and they're at prom.
Yeah,
It's just...
yeah. Sinister music playing.
Also, I'm not trying to be mean, but I think she's okay.
How do you mean?
No, I meant that she wasn't playing it like there was no blood curdling.
Oh,
But
yeah.
which is
I thought you meant. I think like she's gonna live through that. And it's like
Well, I do
maybe.
believe that
Yeah,
because in the
she didn't
second
react.
movie, the guy whose head was turned into chili just comes back and he's like, "Nah, man,
I got a plate.
I got a plaster." And actually, there's a crazy thing where in the movie he has a little lighter and a coat hanger, and he burns the tip of the coat hanger so he can scratch the plate, so it's like he's itching his brain.
Oh yeah. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Him and his brother have this almost kind of like Beavis and Butthead rapport, where like because in the first movie, I think he keeps calling Leatherface bitch.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like again, very specifically feminine kind of insults.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And he still calls Leatherface that in the second one. But what I do think is very funny is that the first thing they say to them, and it's a really well done jump scare, where like I almost called him Chop Top, or whatever.
Crop top.
Chop Top and his brother Yoga Pants. Like they, so he shows up at Stretch's joint. I just want to say Stretch the DJ over and over again because that's so funny to me. But when he shows up at the studio, he's like trying to request a song and he's being all sinister and nefarious, and then Leatherface bursts in, but at the wrong moment.
Yeah.
Like they sort of had this whole like, oh, we're going to set a booby trap for her. I'm going to lure her into this room and you're going to do that. So they do that. And then he knocks the door on top of him. So it's like he's like pinned to the ground. And instead of being like, oh, you bitch, or something like visceral and hateful like that, instead he just goes, get her, dumbass. It's just...
Get her dumbass.
They have such a good rapport. And then Leatherface was like, don't tell me what to do. And they're just, it's great.
Shut up.
Shut up. Like, Leatherface is just the Cornholio persona actually taken to its life.
Yeah.
If Butthead did not tether him to the mortal coil.
Yeah.
We should do one of these on Beavis and Butthead Do America, actually. It's really great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because my friend and I were watching it recently, and what's funny is they have such a better, like, healthier relationship in the movie where they're both just kind of the same, like, nihilistic teen. But in the show, it's mostly Butthead just goading Beavis into hurting himself.
Right.
For his entertainment. Like, and some have argued that Butthead is actually the necessary evil keeping Beavis in check.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, we're 35 minutes into the movie.
It's talking to Beavis about it.
I don't know why I thought Matthew McConaughey was also going to be one of the high schoolers.
Me too, yeah.
Because that would better fit my theory that he's the same character. Like, he graduates in this movie, and then he comes back with, like, a metal plate in his head, and he's like, that's why I like them high school girls. It's like the same character.
I keep getting older. They stay the same age.
And he's, like, itching his dome.
I like how this is his routine. He puts in the rock music and goes after them and, like, humps his car weirdly.
That is one of my favorite horror tropes. There's Friday the 13th Part 6, where there'll be a scene where you're in, like, a Winnebago or a truck and then a rock song comes on.
Mm-hmm. No Country for Old Men.
So this is going to be the rest of the commentary, folks, where we just say shots that this reminds us of.
Yeah.
And then say Texas Chainsaw 4 did it.
Yeah. Simpsons did it. I think it's interesting because in the first movie, Peter Jackson clearly references the moment where she's kind of stuck in the barbs and the bushes when Frodo's trying to get away from Shelob and the third Lord of the Rings, when he's like making his way through and you can see Shelob coming up behind him, and but they're both kind of moving at a slow pace because it's like the thick web, and then he references the first Texas Chainsaw, which is when she's in the bush and Leatherface is behind her, kind of cutting down on the bush behind her, and she's trying to get away, and that shot right there was very similar to that. Again, this entire commentary for the rest of this is just going to be us referencing other movies and what this reminds us.
So let's talk about the other scene that he references from Texas Chainsaw 2 in Return of the King, when I'm sorry. I'm so bored.
Yeah, I hope that whoever's watching this, I hope that we're making it at least a little bit more entertaining.
I think actually we are what everyone hates about commentaries, where they say it's just two guys talking. Not true when it's the filmmakers.
Yeah.
But what you are listening to right now is literally just two guys talking.
We are doing Halloween too, which will be coming out after this.
Yeah, thank God.
And
why don't we lead? Why do we need to put this out?
I know, and then we're going to be doing Halloween too, and that one's going to be it's a movie we both seen and we both love. Oh, okay, Leatherface is here.
So this is Peter Jackson referencing the scene from Texas Chainsaw 1.
Exactly, yeah. Peter Jackson actually played Leatherface in this movie.
Yeah.
You can tell by the hair.
Actually, I love Bad Taste.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you and I were talking about this, where like it's all the charm of like watching a movie that people made when they were in high school.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of it's a no holds barred, like,
yeah, sort
of free associative but unlike, say, something like Crime Wave, which is also a really good kind of weird comedy, almost like it's a Sam Raimi movie, but it's almost got kind of an Sucker Abrams vibe to it.
Yeah.
Like Bad Taste actually just feels like it was made by kids.
Yeah.
In a really in the most endearing way.
Yeah. No, I love Bad.
I think Bad Taste is the greatest Amblin movie Amblin didn't make.
Yeah, exactly. I get like it's hilarious how beat for beat this is the first, like, the even the cutting down of the door, running upstairs. Do you think she's gonna run out of the window?
I don't care. Well, this is our own fault though, because instead of
okay,
oh, that's cool.
That's a change. That's a change of pace.
Yeah, sorry, Cullen keeps getting called by a telemarketer.
Yeah, I think it's a UPS guy.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, Cullen ordered a camera the other day that was delivered to him in pieces.
Yeah.
Like that's how they do it.
They had like the serial killer font on all of them too. Like it was like
okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Sorry, by serial killer font, do you mean like just cutouts from a magazine or like?
Yes.
Oh.
I call that serial killer font because
Well,
I'm
that fits
uncultured.
their MO because they delivered the camera to you like a piece at a time. Not
Yeah.
like the whole tripod, just each leg.
It's like it's like that. I saw this first 48. If you remember that show, where it would be like
Yeah.
the first 48 of the investigation, when I was a kid, and it was some kid was kidnapped, and they were trying to get the mom to ransom, and then she only sends them a piece of the money, and then they say, "You send us a piece, so we'll send you a piece," and they sent him they sent the mom like a piece of the kid's bone or something. And on that dour note, let's watch.
Oh my god!
Let's watch Leatherface chainsaw down this chimney.
Actually, here's my favorite trope in the Texas Chainsaw movies, or at least the 2.5 that I've now seen.
Yeah.
There will always be a scene where Leatherface will just get caught up in sawing off some thing that's in between him and his target.
Oh yeah.
Except
yeah.
it won't be like him trying to get through the thing to attack them. Like here, this makes sense.
But also, like, does she think he's a bear? Or is she like trying to climb up, like to be like?
Well, because also Leatherface is a black bear.
Yes,
he can climb.
Yeah, hell yeah, zip line,
That's actually pretty cool.
Oh man, I thought she was gonna zip line, but
yeah, I thought she was gonna use the gun to just.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, now she's on the ground. Well, we're back in the car. That reminded me of something. Her lift up like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it reminded me of, again, Lord of the Rings, when Boromir falls after Frodo puts on the ring, and he's like, Frodo. Like, she's got the leaves in her hair too. Again, Peter Jackson must be a huge fan of Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, I think the whole franchise. Like,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's pretty...
He was clearly referencing Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, well,
4 in Fellowship.
I'm actually disappointed about this because the co-writer and I think co-producer of the first movie, sorry, it's Kim Heinkel. We have the box right here if you want to quickly check.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was written and directed by him, so I was kind of intrigued to see what he did.
Yep, Kim Heinkel. Yeah.
I was hoping he would come out of that in a monster truck.
Yeah. Lights, like these pooling lights go down. He's doing revs over school trucks.
That'd be awesome.
Or school buses.
I won't lie. I think that Matthew McConaughey had a better intro in this movie.
Than Leatherface?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Well, Leatherface, they say, needs no introduction, so.
Actually, this movie sort of... we always joke about this with The Dark Knight, but I mean, I think this is just a byproduct of sort of sequels in the 80s onward.
Yeah.
Where you had this trend where it's like, okay, the audience is already familiar with the character. We don't need to give them a proper reintroduction. So, like in The Dark Knight, the scene that I think that you and I always gripe about is instead of introducing him landing on the van, crushing Scarecrow inside, which would be already sort of establish him as a more brutal, a more like harsh kind of Batman. Instead, we introduce him like, I don't know, just bending the end of a guy's gun. There's like a weird like little dolly that dollies. It's like a shot in a Wes Anderson movie, actually.
Yeah.
Where the guy's like, and they just like it just dollies right. Sorry, dollies left, and the Batman just goes, shh. And we go. Compared to Batman Begins' introduction, which is admittedly really good, like it's a really well constructed scene. It is just a shame that in this movie, it's like, yeah, Leatherface just kind of walks up behind her when she's like in a chair. Actually, what you described for the purposes of comedy would have actually worked perfectly fine in a horror film. Like it'd be Michael Myers. I mean, that's how he basically is introduced in everything. Like he just kind of steps in and he steps out. She sounds like Seinfeld. No, he had a chainsaw.
Yeah, I love that. That's actually the best delivery in this whole movie.
It is. And
what
then they just
fuck
go.
are you talking about? Yeah, a chainsaw.
And they're like, "Come on, Jerry, it's not practical." No, I swear, he had a chainsaw.
Yeah, he had a chainsaw.
Who has a chainsaw?
My mom. He had a chainsaw.
This commentary has turned into the fingers crossed scene from Freddy Got Fingered. Saw. I think she's more of a threat than the Matthew McConaughey character. I don't know why the construction worker lady is the most off-putting person in the world. Like, this is my favorite thing in horror movies is what you really need to sell is, it's not just about selling how threatening your villain is. It's about selling, like, who the moral supports are. Who should you care about?
Yeah.
Not just in relation to the protagonist, but, like, who's in her orbit, who's friendly to her so that you'll feel bad when they get, when they get hurt or worse, killed. Usually killed. I'm sorry, I was talking over that scene. I didn't realize she was bad. I apologize.
Oh no! Well, I mean, you should have realized it's bad because it's beat for beat the first movie, where she goes to find refuge at the place nearby outside of their house, and then the guy comes in with a broomstick or a cattle prod and beats.
Yeah,
her.
no, actually, that just means I'm cinematically illiterate, and I just like, and I just kind of went like, you see, this scene is bad because we're supposed to care for this woman, and she's beating her with a cattle prod. How could you root for someone that's doing bad things to people?
So now we've got a lady in the family.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, that's actually a really interesting development.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think this movie is going to take it anywhere that changes up the
I don't know.
formula.
In the wiki synopsis, they mentioned something about the Illuminati.
Oh, awesome. Okay,
so let's
cool.
see how deep this goes.
Yeah. There's obviously no pizzas in that boxes because he just picked them up and like held them vertically for a moment.
No, he just failed the Spider-Man 2 video game mission.
I don't know if this is a thing in the States. I've never seen a drive-through pizza place before.
Well, McDonald's used to give out pizza.
I do remember that.
Did they do it in a box though?
I don't know. But like I also don't think that they gave out like it wasn't like pizza like that. Like it wasn't like a full like large 3-box pizza. I think it was just kind of like a mini, like almost like a microwavable. Probably was a microwavable pizza, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. Renee Zellweger's pretty funny in this.
Yeah. Oh, there's a cop now. We're gonna have.
Actually, the sign for this place kind of rules because it just says Buds and there's a giant picture of a pizza.
Yeah. I like how blasé she is about this too. And she's just like, there's just kids walking by, and she's like, "Hey, Kay, I'm gonna poke a hole for you in this."
I think everything that makes a horror sequel inept is also something that someone could use as an argument.
Yeah.
For like, nah, man, this is actually about. This isn't an invocation of the idiot plot trope.
Yeah.
This is a indictment of the trope. I don't know why I'm saying that like a bunch of contrarians like this movie. I don't think anyone really knows this movie.
No.
I mean, it's cool that people knew it enough to give it a restoration. Good people at Scream Factory.
I mean, I think it's just the name recognition, honestly. I think if this movie was not tied to the Texas Chainsaw franchise, then it would be a, VHS only release.
But actually,
which would have been an awesome way to watch this movie.
Yeah, actually, I think that the most interesting thing about having a matriarchal figure in charge of the family is the fact that Leatherface has always been berated.
Yeah.
Or sort of, it's not that they embody anything that's innately feminine. It's that they've been endowed with these feminine characteristics by the members of their family, and then they treat those things as submissive qualities rather than just what they are, qualities. And so I think it's kind of interesting that they just said, okay, well, why don't we change up the power dynamic?
Yeah.
I also, and I'm not trying to be weird. Was it the Sawyer family in the first two?
Like their name?
Yeah.
I can't remember what their names are now.
Got it. And I don't want to commit to anything there, but I'm pretty sure. I don't think this is the same family.
Yeah.
I think there's just another Leatherface.
Yeah. Let me see. Maybe it might say. Well, it does say the next generation, so maybe it's like the next generation of Leatherface or something.
Sorry. Between me thinking that the construction lady was supposed to be the good guy and that I am the fool. This movie's made me a little bit dumber.
Wait, is she supposed to?
Well, this is like the hammer scene. The hammer scene in the first one.
Right.
You know where they gotta
Right.
draw
When
blood
yeah,
like
and
ritualistically.
he's like, and
That
he's,
was that,
he-
except in the next generation, she lightly hits her with a twig.
yeah, yeah, which I like. It was actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's there's one good scene in um what movie was it that I was watching recently, and there's like a single good bit in it.
Daddy's Home too.
No.
No, there's actually a great scene in Daddy's Home too at an improv show that like they bungle it near the end when they start playing it for pathos as opposed to comedy, but it's actually really good.
They're also getting like the cannibal family is getting pizza for dinner.
That's actually really good.
I guess they don't always have
No,
humans, yeah.
actually, the idea of a neoliberal
Lady
Texas Chainsaw Murder
Yeah.
family is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, you have sort of like this kind of corporate feminist, lean and climb the ladder person
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
goes out and buys pizza for everyone.
Exactly. It was exactly as Jeremy said. Like, we need more female guards.
No, that's this character. I heard one interesting thing actually that Kim Hinkle?
Yes. Yeah.
Hinkle? Yeah.
Yeah.
He said something along the lines of when people talked about Leatherface's femininity in this one, when they're wearing this, and then the sort of Elvira-looking costume that you see on the cover near the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They said apparently their characteristics are them Leatherface takes on the personality traits of whoever's face that they're wearing.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, no, I just went. That's
So
an interesting.
There's an actual kind of like reason behind the different costume changes and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, they're making choices. It's,
Yeah. 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 I mean, I'm having a better time with this than I had with Endgame. So.
Oh yeah, easily. Well, first of all, this is 90 minutes shorter.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
People don't think runtime should factor into telling a good story. I don't know. Like,
I mean, I think a story should take the time it needs to tell its story. However, I think a lot of movies take way too much time to tell the stories that they think they should have to tell. So yeah, McConaughey is like the second to Hillary Clinton.
oh, I thought he was like the grandpa.
Yeah.
Actually, when I first saw Texas Chainsaw, there were only two moments that actively scared me. The first one was just, the disquieting moment when Leatherface slams the door after
Yes.
after hitting the guy who was
The
driving
first
car.
victim, right?
The first
Yeah.
victim, except in why that's so upsetting is because their response is like that they start experiencing like these violent seizures. Like,
Yeah,
they don't just
yeah.
immediately die, which is very
Realistic
which is
too.
very
What
off-putting.
would probably happen.
But the second scene is when the family, when the grandpa, sort of the family patriarch, sucks
Yeah.
on her finger, not
'cause
sucking
that's
on her
the
finger,
first time you
but
realize-
his hands.
That's
'cause
the
it-
first time you realize that he's alive. 'Cause
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
think that he's just genuinely dead until
Yeah,
he literally
no.
just starts suckling on her like
Yeah.
bloody finger.
There's this horrible moment when he, I don't know why, he does like this ooh, where his like hands come up to go like jinkies when he
Yeah.
does that, and it's like, yeah, it's the
It makes me think
terrific.
of Bill Murray's dead boss in Scrooged. And it's like, hello, and the golf balls keep falling out of him.
Can we actually just do Weekend at Bernie's, but it's the grandpa from Texas
Yeah,
Chainsaw
yeah.
Massacre?
That's essentially what this family is. Like it would be the family just bringing him around.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't know if sorry, spoiler alert, but since we're on it, in the second movie, you see the grandpa again. He's still alive, and they acknowledge that it's like 13 years into the future. So the grandpa's probably 120 years old by
Yeah.
this point. Basically more dead than alive. But what's really interesting is that Tom Savini did the makeup effects for that, and Tom Savini is the wonderful makeup artist who worked on like the Romero zombie movies, like the latter two zombie movies. And a lot of the Friday the 13th films. A very talented makeup artist. But I actually think it's sort of making like I don't know like the job that they do on the old man. The fact that he looks more like an old man in the second one actually makes him less frightening, because in the first one, he's just like a sickly yellow, almost like he has jaundice.
Yeah.
So there's just already this kind of like diseased quality.
He sort of looks mummified almost.
Exactly, yeah. And to me, I think that's kind of lost when you actually have a good makeup department. Something similar happens in Eaten Alive, where there's the proprietor of a brothel, and I think they were just painting up a middle-aged woman to look older, but whatever they used, they just made her look like she was covered in cigarette ash. Like
Right.
she's just like this sickly gray, as opposed to just looking pale or old. And to me, I think that actually works way better for creating this sort of uncanny, almost proto-Lynchian effect.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Queen. This is actually the Nancy Pelosi origin story.
It would actually be great if it turned out that she never ate anyone.
Yeah, that she's just like
She's like, no,
the
I just kind of
corporation
inherited
above
the,
it.
you
Yeah.
know, it's like I've inherited the family business and I've just
Yeah.
been running it.
that'd be.
And she think like, yeah, she votes Democrat. She's not a bad person.
Oh, there's
Oh,
the
yeah.
Illuminati stuff. Yeah.
Well, there's the Illuminati thing I was talking about. That's
Yeah.
I didn't think that's how they were gonna reveal it.
No,
I
yeah.
thought there would have been a room with like a big triangle with an eye in it, but
Who do you think killed Kennedy?
Leatherface.
Yeah.
No one ever talks about the hulking 7-foot tall.
Yeah, chainsaw wielding man that was on Kennedy's car.
Just sawing the back of his head
Yeah.
off.
Smiling at Jackie. That one didn't rhyme. I wish he was like a teacher and was just like, explain your reasoning.
It's gonna be on a report card in
Yeah.
plead for your life class.
Yeah.
No sources cited.
Darla, Vilmer fighting.
That's actually awesome.
That's great, yeah.
I do like the Arrested Development thing they have going
Yeah.
on here.
It's just an apple. How much could it be? $20? What's that line? I can't even remember what the exact line is.
No.
I thought she was just gonna go for the pizza for a second. Like I thought she was gonna grab a slice of pizza while they fought.
I really hope.
That's fucking awesome. The fact that they're all just like they just hate each other.
Yeah.
Like it's actually the one interesting dynamic that they changed from the first movie is that like
No,
they
that
just-
they're totally resentful of each
Yeah.
other.
like in the first one they're like there's clearly a hierarchical structure but they kind of respect it.
Hmm.
Whereas in this one everyone just fucking hates each other. I forgot about his robot leg.
Yeah, no. Once in a while,
Yeah.
it'll make a noise. I can't. My leg.
I wonder what the implication like what's the reason? Oh, is he gonna draw a target on him or something? He's gonna draw a target on himself, I think.
Oh yeah, Southern Comfort. Oh wait, no. There's a scene in the second one where the older brother basically does that with his throat.
Yeah.
There's just like a weird moment where someone's like, "I'm gonna kill you," and then they go, "Nah, I'm already gonna."
I
You
would.
can't kill me. Only I can kill me.
I would have immediately shot the dude.
That would have been awesome. So in Eaten Alive, spoiler, there's the killer in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
played by the wonderful Neville Brand,
Yeah.
has a prosthetic leg, has like a wooden leg.
Right.
And there's a scene where he gets shot in the leg, and he's like, ah, and he goes howling back inside, and then he starts kind of snickering to himself and pulls up the pant leg, and you just see like bullet holes in this wooden leg, and you go, that's pretty great.
Yeah. Did Oprah shit on him?
Yeah. Wait, what?
did Oprah shit on him?
Sorry, for context to that comment. I was in a motel recently on assignment, and there was assassination
on a mission.
of the last Kennedy, and basically.
I like how she's talking like this could be a scene at like a bad high school party.
Yeah.
Like where it's like when the party just gets too weird and you're just like, all right, let's head out. Like there's pizza behind her. She's just like, come on, Heather, let's get out of here. Let's dip this place. I don't like it.
Actually,
I can't find my shoes. There you go. It's literally a party.
So what's interesting about the sound design in this scene is that it's kind of reminiscent of Tobe Hooper's own score, the score that he co-scored for Eaten Alive, which is a lot of these kind of like these weird kind of like like techie sort of almost like you're scraping metal against a.
Hang on, wait. She shot the gun at him. It didn't fire, and then he shot the gun.
Well, it's like the sword from Blade, you know. It's
yeah. It's actually it's a precursor to the gun from Skyfall.
Yeah.
And he's his handprint.
Sorry,
even though in Skyfall he later wears gloves with that gun and it fires fine. So. Sting.
I just realized I never clarified the Oprah story.
Oh yeah,
I think that's funnier if that hangs there.
Yeah. If you can figure out what Oprah's story and shitting on a prosthetic leg have to do with each other, you can be a guest on our show. Like, this could literally be a scene from Dazed and Confused.
Oh yeah, because the soundtrack's so chill.
Yeah.
It's funky. Actually, really good music cue from the first movie. The first victim is killed to the Oingo Boingo. Sorry, from the second movie, the first victim is killed to the Oingo Boingo song, No One Lives Forever.
Oh my fucking god, that's awesome. Oh my head. What a night.
And there was a guy with a chainsaw. You know, I'm always fascinated.
I liked that. Sorry, that synthesizer hit there.
Oh,
But
that was
what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I like when these movies open a really insane can of worms. Like, these guys work for the Illuminati.
Yeah, no, it's the
And
it's
then
the,
just
well,
like, oh, we're just gonna hang out in a bar.
it's that classic '90s like upscaling of the sequel,
Oh yeah, but
like
but
that you
but,
would just have to do.
but there's nothing in the production design that would allude to that.
No.
It's just, you know, she just says, oh, these guys.
They killed Kennedy.
And you go, wow, Kennedy must be, with all due respect to President Kennedy, not very good at dodging chainsaws.
Yeah. So the mask is like very much attached to his body there because his lips are.
Well, I
like,
think they're wearing a torso.
Oh, okay. But because I mean, even his lips, like he was painting his lips, and the lips of the mask went right into his mouth.
Oh.
So, you know, Michael and I get down on the nitty gritties here. we discuss the intricacies of that again. That's such a '90s thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is like everything being able to be controlled by TV remotes.
So are they related, or is she
Yes,
just?
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. It wouldn't be a Texas movie without incest. With like
Yeah, actually, that
weird-
is true. Another movie, a great movie called Lone Star, also starring Matthew McConaughey. That's the big twist.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think is funny about the first movie, is that it's very clearly like in the lore of it implied that they're just products of like horrible incest, but they never really mention it in the movie. Like they're never like, yeah, our granddad had married his sister.
Uh-huh.
Maybe he put the TV remote emitter in his leg just so that she could have fun. Like it's like a little like play thing in the bedroom. Like he's like, I'll wear my TV emitter tonight. I guess I should receiver, not emitter.
Okay, and we do this
Oh,
again.
he says it.
Ah!
He says it. I didn't know if he was gonna say it in this. I guess he does. Except I like this because they're literally again just eating pizza. That's so funny.
That's really
Like
good.
the one guy at the back is just having a fucking pizza dinner.
Why does this remind me of the Addams Family? I don't know why, but like...
I can see it. This is the R-rated Addams Family remake.
Yeah.
So it is a different family. Okay.
Yeah.
Like confirm. It's not just like a recasting. It's like confirmed. So what the fuck is?
Well,
I
they
guess
just have a Leatherface.
Yeah.
Unless there's something in the third movie that's connective tissue between the second
This and yeah.
Sorry.
All screaming.
Sorry.
Deo. Deo.
All right.
All right.
I have this weird guilty pleasure for people screaming in other people's faces. Like, it's just funny. Yes, exactly that.
God, I wish fucking Buffalo Bill was here.
Oh, I wish Ted Levine was the bad guy in this. That would be amazing.
Ted Levine and Matthew McConaughey would actually make a pretty good, like, either brother or father-son kind of, like,
Oh, that's
duo.
what I was thinking all through Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Just, where's Matthew McConaughey? Like,
Yeah.
they're just a couple of bumbling sidekicks trying to steal dino teeth.
That'd be Voltaire.
You know what's a good team up? Ted Levine and Clancy Brown in Flubber, where it's just them getting owned by a bowling ball for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Good team.
I wish this was more like Flubber.
In what way?
Every way, I think. I wish I was watching Flubber.
Yeah, you wish that Rob Williams was just free associating.
I just wish that I was not watching Texas Chainsaw 4: The Next Generation.
I would love it if Rob Williams was Leatherface.
Oh, can you imagine?
Oh, I'm an old lady now.
Ooh, look at me! Just in the ladies' room. And then he loses his mask, and he's like, my face is gone. Comes up, and he's just, instead of like the cream, it's like a vat of blood or something.
No, that's
again my Face Off 2 remake.
No, actually, it's still cream. That's his gimmick. He's like Leatherface, but he just sticks his face in cakes.
Hello, darling. Oh, you know, it helps me pores.
Oh, I'll actually be real. I'm not the first one to give this take, but I think Mrs. Doubtfire is a way more proficient horror movie villain than Leatherface, because Leatherface is just is codependent to their family.
Yeah.
In the same way that their family's codependent to them because they're the breadwinner, but at the end of the day, they'll do anything they say because they're just constantly gaslighting them.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Doubtfire, I don't know. They almost succeeded in getting Pierce Brosnan killed and saved him, probably just to prove that they could.
Yeah.
They could do that at any time.
I control you. I control you, dear. I honestly can't remember how Mrs. Doubtfire is revealed in Mrs. Doubtfire, like to his kids at the dinner, because all I can remember is
I think the mask falls off. Like,
does it? All I can
his head
remember
shoots
is
forward.
the remake we did at Centauri, Mrs. Dustbuster. Like I remember how that happens because I
Sorry, for
directed
context, Cullen and I used to go to an arts camp. It was really fun, and he made a parody of Mrs. Doubtfire called Mrs. Dustbuster.
Yeah. It was my magnum opus, and it's basically beat for beat that movie, just with exaggerated.
And by beat for beat that movie, we mean Texas Chainsaw 4.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw 4 beat for beat. Mrs. Dustbuster even runs out of the window on the fourth floor. I'm going to the ladies' room. Well, they've got the fire extinguishers. So. Is that her friend?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, it
yeah.
is. Sorry,
There was definitely no fire on her back there doing that wide.
Well, I told you she was gonna be okay after they stabbed her with a hook, and you didn't believe me.
Oh yeah, she actually is right. Yeah, that's the friend that was on the hook.
Yeah, she's doing great. Oh, they have all these
She's
keys.
maybe this is an origin story, and that's how they made Grandpa. They just got a teenage girl and burned her and stabbed her on a hook.
So, just curious, are the keys like does that have to do with the Illuminati? It's like this is the key to the nuclear football. This is the.
I have no man. I'm the wrong
No
dude.
recollection, Your Honor.
Yeah, I do not recall.
She does remind me.
Are these the relatives? Oh shit! I was really excited to have like if it was like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, that the relatives show up and they're just like, oh god damn it, we've got to. I'll get in the kitchen and start making dinner for four. Is that actually what this is? 'Cause they seemed. I thought this was gonna be like the FBI or something, but no.
Oh, this is the Illuminati.
I
I think. I'm sorry.
Maybe.
I'm not gonna lie. The Illuminati are pretty conspicuous.
Yeah. With the big tall driver with the mustache. And
Yeah.
this guy's weird haircut. It's back. It looks like.
Well, it looks like my haircut. Don't be mean.
At this point, that's our commentary. We're just making
no,
noises.
Cullen has been slowly turning into Buffalo Bill over the past 3 years. I've known him.
So that's interesting that Buffalo. I always thought not Buffalo Bill. Sorry, I always thought that it was more of an Ed Gein thing with Leatherface, in that like it wasn't just one whole person's torso or skin that he wore at once. That it was like
more article, like things around the house,
like sort of like a Buffalo Bill again. That's where the Ed Gein thing comes in. Whereas if it that actually makes more sense if it's like that he just has like a wardrobe of different people's skins that he puts on and then embodies their personality.
No, totally.
That's actually a neat kind of.
No, to me, I think that's actually the best addition in this movie.
Yeah.
And like Ed Gein, they only actually killed 2 people.
Yeah. There you go.
Because Matthew McConaughey set that girl on fire.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen Leatherface kill 2 people.
Well, he killed the guy with the hammer. Has he killed anyone with a chainsaw in this movie yet?
No. He kills the guy at the beginning of the second movie.
Yeah, but I mean, in this movie, he hasn't killed anyone with a chainsaw yet.
Yeah, I don't know why I committed to this Ed Gein bit. This wasn't going anywhere. But it was like, no. Because
Michael,
I'm doing
a critical analysis. Of this movie.
Because he impales. There's the iconic moment where he impales the woman on the hook in the first movie, and that's the second kill.
And he hits the guy over the head.
Yeah.
And he chainsaws the wheelchair.
Yes. Yes, he kills more than 2 people.
No, I'm trying to think of does he kill everyone in the first movie?
No, that truck kills his older brother, we thought.
Yes, that's true.
But even then, it didn't really kill him.
Yeah. But I mean, like, does Leatherface kill any teenager that dies in that movie?
Yes, I'm
he
positive.
Kills them, yeah, because there's 4 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which actually, follows the family's MO that he does the dirty work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because that's what the guy says. He's like, I couldn't get in that killing. Like, I couldn't work out an appetite for that. Whereas Leatherface is like the one that they just kind of go like, okay, murder.
Which would actually be more interesting in this kind of a movie with someone who's like, no, man, I just run the business.
Yeah. Do you think that
I'm not a bad person. I'm not actually killing people, but they have, Do
you think he'll have a big? He'll probably have a big Illuminati tattoo on his chest. I think. I hope.
This guy?
Yeah, because he's taking off his shirt. He just undid his shirt. I just keep seeing Jennifer Aniston.
Interesting, because I actually saw the coach from The Biggest Loser.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's why Leatherface is so svelty in this one.
He does have some sort of weird thing on his torso. I saw like rings and like bizarre like.
So this is like the grandpa scene. I figured.
I wanted those cries to turn into laughs and just stop. Yeah, I guess this is like gross out grandpa. Who drops a pizza on the floor?
What's on his belly?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at it. I do love how much he does that point.
Yeah.
He's calling a shot.
All right. Murph.
You okay?
Oh, it's the girl on the ground. He's stepping on her skull.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, that's cool.
I like that little.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's, I guess, neat. I wouldn't have known what that was going on if the subtitles weren't telling me.
No, thank you. You're the courtesy of Scream Factory.
Oh wait, so he's like, what is he like, suicidal after he
But
kills
after he
people?
killed that lady basically twice.
I guess everyone in this movie is just kind of crazy. Leatherface is just like walking around like, oh no, what's going on?
Normally, in horror, the kind of fun thing about villains is there's sort of like their pathology has rules.
Yeah.
Like with any good comic character with a villain, there's disciplines, like things they will and won't do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's awesome.
He still did it too. I like how he walked into frame with the point. I think that's the funny thing about Matthew McConaughey as an actor is that he's just always Matthew McConaughey.
Oh,
like
yeah,
it's
he's
like
so
he always
fun.
has to say all right.
Yeah.
He also always points.
I don't think he says all right in Lone Star, but he definitely points at one point.
Yes.
He does like a finger snap and you.
I love this. I love how I just love the remote. Hydraulic remotes dueling. That is
Yes!
the best.
Okay, that's awesome.
That's the best subtitle I've ever seen in my life. Hydraulic remotes dueling.
Let it be known that was on the screen.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of their equivalent to the chainsaw duel at the climax of Texas Chainsaw 2.
Is it? Okay.
Which is an amazing scene where
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper
Gets a chainsaw?
is screaming, bury you in hell, or
Yeah.
burn it all down. He's just... So basically, leading up to the chainsaw fight, he's just sawing down the foundation of, like, this amusement park.
Yeah.
Like, kind of haunted house thing. Mini golf sort of thing. It's never really specified what it is. But it climaxes in them having a chainsaw fight.
God, my stomach is rumbling. I hope nobody heard that. Is he gonna have to like run along and like click the remote
clop?
every time? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My stomach is. I'm worried because I'm holding the microphone right by my stomach, and my stomach has been grumbling like this entire time. That every 5 minutes in this commentary, just gonna be like. "Rrr."
Well, this just rules.
Oh fucking! Wait, so the plane flew by, and now I thought the implication was that old man who's clearly in a Winnebago was flying the plane,
Yeah.
like that they just like didn't even bother.
Oh, that's what I thought. I thought it was like The Incredibles.
Yeah.
When he was like,
Yeah.
"Would you like another mimosa?" And he's... Oh, this is that. Oh, this rules. Wouldn't it be great if these guys ran the Illuminati? That was the twist.
Yeah. Is his name Mr. Scottish?
No, Mr. Spottish.
Oh, jeez. That's fucking awesome. Step on it. He goes literally 2 miles
For what it's
faster.
worth, Mr. Spottish does sound like an alias a 90s comedian is using
Yeah.
to get back into his family.
Oh, God. Holy shit. Fucking awesome, man.
Well, this is actually cribbed from the second movie.
Oh, is it?
This is the first kill of the second movie.
Oh, so they go up beside a car.
Yeah, they go up beside a car and they saw through the roof of the car to cut the guy's head off.
That's awesome.
While Oingo Boingo, Oingo Boingo's no one lives
Yeah.
forever plays. So, What do you think about the who directed what Poltergeist controversy?
Oh, here's the train. Or the plane, sorry, not the train. What do I think about that? Well,
We gotta film
I
this
feel
somehow.
like this is
We
like
got,
I feel like you're
15 more
segueing
minutes.
into our the next, like you're actually just gonna watch Poltergeist next. We'll discuss that.
No,
when
it was one of those things where after
Please,
after Hooper died, they sort of reopened that debate again
Yeah.
because it was sort of long understood. A lot of actors came out to say that really it was Steven Spielberg
that was-
directing to take advantage of I think there was like something in a contract he signed with E.T.
Yeah.
where he couldn't direct two projects at the same time.
Yeah.
So he basically had Tobe Hooper as a placeholder. But after Tobe Hooper died, like Mick Garris, who's another horror filmmaker and was a publicist on Poltergeist, came out in his defense. And a couple of the other actors like James Cameron were going like, no, he was like definitely running the show there. Just Spielberg had last say because he's producer.
I'm curious to know if that was more of a postmortem, like respect
Exactly,
thing,
and that's
you
the
know?
thing. I sincerely don't know because
Yeah.
I think people are really quick to say like, oh well, Spielberg's a megalomaniacal control freak, or people were quick to say, Hooper was a kid who had no idea what he's doing. And I think the truth is probably somewhere divorced from those two more cynical points, and probably just fell down to like the stuff that they were talking about with the director's strike and the director's clause,
Yeah.
where he couldn't do what he wanted to do. Like I think they were both probably involved
Yeah. Oh,
to
definitely.
pretty equal degrees.
Well, because it doesn't feel as much like a Spielberg movie as it would if Spielberg had as much
Well, exactly.
control
Because
as
the
some
big
people
criticism
say.
people say is that it looks and feels like a Spielberg movie, and I went, well, that's like saying Gremlins looks and feels.
Yeah,
like. Yeah, I
exactly,
mean, there's
yeah.
some there's Amblin tropes.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between saying a Spielberg movie and an Amblin movie.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Magic in the Water looks and feels like a Spielberg
Exactly.
movie, and got nothing to do with
I'd
Amblin.
argue that Us, which Peele went on record saying was heavily inspired by like the kind of Amblin trope of like, yeah, it's just a family
Yeah.
fending off forces of evil.
Yeah.
Like that feels in a lot
Yeah.
of ways like an Amblin film.
Exactly. Yeah.
Actually, the only Amblin movies that don't feel like Amblin movies these days are like, the
Amblin movies.
yeah, like Jurassic. I think Jurassic World, like they had some involvement in.
Well, they're still the producers.
Yeah, exactly.
On all the Jurassic movies. So.
Yeah, and Ready Player One's more like a caricature.
Yeah,
like in an
it's-
intentional one. But,
Yeah. Yeah. Ready Player One kind of sticks out as different, but yeah, the Jurassic movies are the only ones that really feel like not Amblin-y.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think that's just because Colin Trevorrow's hack. It sucks. He's just a shitty YouTube filmmaker, basically. Sorry,
Yeah,
Colin.
no,
If
it
you're
sucked to be
listening to
one of
this,
those.
if you're listening, Colin Trevorrow. Yeah, I said shitty, not mediocre, not mediocre.
We're C+ filmmakers.
Yeah, yeah. We'd get like a 68 on Metacritic because that's
Oh,
the one that matters.
What would Nigel's dad give us in his class?
Yeah, exactly. That's the real.
It isn't. There's like 8 minutes left.
Yeah. I hope so.
I really want you to resolve this.
Who was that lady that just went by?
I like that you just, you have this obviously traumatized young woman who's like,
Yeah, he's like,
borderline
why aren't you
catatonic."
talking to me? Oh, look, it's like the first. Oh, fuck, does it end in a musical number? Please tell
Yes.
me. That you
Like
I was
Gremlins
going to say
2.
like that you start doing like a dance. But unfortunately, apparently not. I was really excited for like a dance number at the end there.
Yeah. I was way shorter than I thought it would be.
Thank God. All right, well, thanks so much for watching our Texas Chainsaw 4: The Next Generation commentary. We hope you stuck with us this long. If you did, thank you so much. It definitely kept us company because we can hear everything you're saying. We did hear that insult that you threw at us. Soon we're going to be doing, for our next one, Halloween 2, which is a movie that Michael and I both unironically love. It's my favorite Halloween movie. I don't know about you, Michael.
Oh, yeah. I stand by what I said about Iron Man 3, and I'll stand by what I say about Halloween 2. It is the best Halloween movie of all time.
Yeah, and the best Marvel movie of all time, too. But anyway, thank you so much. We will see you next time.